Hi. So in this video I thought I would talk about a few things, give you guys a bit of an update of what I've been up to and some thoughts that have been going on in my mind. So I recently had did an experiment with a fast or a cleanse, and I've done fasts and cleanses before, but this one was a little bit unique and it just sort of happened spontaneously. And essentially all I did for the day is I had a very relaxed day. I had a day off, and I didn't eat apart from my supplements. And I take a combination of different green powders. I mix that all up with water with some vitamin C and some cod liver oil and CBD. And I have all that in a concoction, a bit of a potion, and it's really good. I just have that usually once a day, not much, maybe a heaped teaspoon of the green powder stuff, a very small amount of the vitamin C, and a small amount of cod liver oil, and usually only maybe 1 or 2 drops of CBD. But this day I thought I would do an experiment, and I took quite a high dose of CBD. I have 10% solution, and I probably took between 10 to 15 drops over the course of the day. And it was a combination of rubbing it on my skin as well as drinking it. And I had a great time. Like, this was a new experience for me, and I believe fasting can be very beneficial for clearing the body, giving it a rest, and just to clear out all of the stuff in your digestion, give your digestion a nice clean slate. And I've done longer fasts before. My longest fast was actually 5 days, which was really intense. But that's another story. But just for the day, I had such a great time, and I was in such a great state of mind. I went for some really nice walks. I took my music with me, and I was in this great vibe. I also got some really good news regarding some of my music and how I'm now making money from my music, which is really awesome for me, as I'm literally making money doing what I love, and what I love helps people. So this is something I've been striving for a very long time now. And it almost stems back to when I first quit my job, where I was working as a CAD technician. I can remember at the time I was reading a lot about how you can make passive income and all of this, but I never really took it that seriously, but I was very interested. And it's only been this past couple of years that I've really started to work towards this, and now it's actually I'm starting to see results, which is awesome. When I look into the future, if I continue this way, I could quite easily be living off of my income from my music and be able to dedicate full time to all of this creative stuff that I love doing, making videos, articles, music, writing, all of this awesome stuff. And that's looking very likely for me in the future, so it's good to see the results of that starting to happen. So that day with me was very awesome. I had such a good day and I felt great. I was contemplating deeply about myself and all these different things and the world, and it was really good. So I'd highly recommend, if you've never tried it, just to try maybe one day. There's actually like a whole thing around this intermittent fasting, where you fast for like 1 or 2 days a week, and then because it gives your system a break, you don't have to be so worrisome about what you eat throughout the rest of the week. Of course, within limits, you don't want to just be eating shitty fast food for those other 5 days, but you don't have to worry so much. It sort of gives you that break, that period of rest, so you don't have to be too concerned. You can still have a bit of chocolate or whatever. You can still enjoy yourself with some nice food, the occasional pizza. Where I'm in Italy at the moment, pizza is very common and it's so delicious, but it'd be very easy to eat too much pizza, especially here in Italy. And another interesting experience I had a couple of days after that was I went trick-or-treating with my host family. And now this may seem a little bit strange to mention it, because it's like, but what the difference was is I was given a mask, and I had this I don't know what you would call it, almost like a blanket, but not quite. And it looked like a vampire sort of robe. And I would wrap that around me and put my hood up and put this mask, which is actually kind of a scary mask, especially if you're a kid. And I had a great time because nobody could see my face, obviously, or my eyes, and they didn't know I didn't speak Italian. and I was just walking around spooking all these people out, and they would say things to me, and it was so easy to not respond because I didn't know what they were saying, and I really spooked a few people out. It was good fun. But what was interesting was how other people would react to me, because they had no idea of what I was reacting due to the mask, and I could pick up on different people's vibes depending on how they would react to my presence. And it was very interesting trying to unpack what was my own emotions and other people's emotions, because a big part of my journey right now, especially tying in with my deep body mind practice that's just getting deeper by the day, is being able to identify when I feel something. Am I picking up on someone else's emotion, or is this my emotion? And this was a perfect arena to test this out. I can vividly remember just standing there and these children coming up to me, and I feel great, but then they come up to me and they start getting scared, and I feel it, and I'm like, that's not mine. So I'm smiling by this point underneath the mask, but they're still scared, and they're speaking to me in Italian, and I don't know what the hell they're saying, but then I just stare at them, and they get a bit more creeped out, and then they run away, and a bit of harmless fun. And I also, was walking around, and I noticed some people would sort of look at you like, oh, what are you doing, wearing that mask, it's a shitty mask, and other people would get into it, they'd be like, oh, look at that guy. So it was really interesting to observe other people's reactions to me when I was totally neutral, to a degree, in this blue mask, and and it was a very, very interesting experiment. So I'm really glad I did that. And yeah, so that just shows you how, little mundane things like that can actually be turned around, and you can create an interesting experience from them. And another thing that happened to me, this was all in the same week. It's been an interesting week, actually. It's been, apart from the few things I mentioned, business as usual. I'm getting on with my own stuff. But I have noticed there's a bit more of an emotional up and down these past couple of weeks. And I was speaking to this group that I'm a part of, the Veil of Reality Forums. They have a monthly meeting. And they also mentioned how it's been a bit of a turbulent period with the astrology energies, and that sort of clicked in quite nicely for me. That made a bit of sense, because I have been feeling a little bit more up and down than usual. Not to say that I blame it completely on astrology, but I'm quite aware of what I usually feel like, and there may be other factors involved with this, but I've noticed there's been a little bit more up and down. But what actually happened was I was meditating. And I got really deep into this meditation. It was really good. And I was focusing on some of my issues I have and some things that were going well. And I got into trusting reality and trusting the Creator, and really diving into that. Like really, really expressing my trust for this reality and how it is supporting me and how it has my best interests at heart. If only I could see it. And if I could really believe it and feel it, what that would actually be like. And I was getting really deep into this. And I had another experience again of where you process some trauma stored inside the body. And I've written about this before on my website, where I believe when you get deep enough into a meditative practice or a body-mind practice, you can actually experience the cleansing of old wounds and trauma as sensations throughout your body. And you start to shake, almost involuntary, but you can't stop it. And it can be kind of strange at first. I remember the first time that happened, I was really creeped out. I just sort of went with it, but I was quite scared. But then afterwards, I felt amazing. I felt really, really good. And it really felt like I cleared something. But now when it happens, which is not so often, but it never really has happened that frequently, other than when I had my Amanita Muscaria experiences. Now I just feel totally relaxed, even though my body is convulsing and is getting rid of this energy. I feel totally relaxed, and afterwards I always feel very, very good, and lighter. And so this again happened to me, and it's very interesting. It's a very interesting experience, and I ask you if you've ever heard of anything similar, to perhaps tell me about it, and because I don't hear much about this. I've only ever seen one other person mention a specific thing actually happening, and it's a very interesting experience. And I believe this is how my body processes trauma. And it may be different for other people, but that's how I've noticed that this is how it works for me. Is I have these bursts, and then it's gone. Other times, I meditate and I feel absolute bliss and I feel great, and I have these revelations in my mind in this awesome place, and it's like I'm really tuned into these higher energies and tuning into the highest levels of my being that are currently available. But sometimes then I also have the negative side of it, which is so important, I believe, because I really do think the more that you clear the negative energies out from your body, the more that you can anchor the higher energies and more positive energies, and then in turn raising your vibration, and then that affects everybody via the hidden connection that we all share as human beings, as one organism, through the morphogenic field that connects us all. There is a very strong link between us, and when one person's vibration raises or rises, it raises everyone else's, and maybe only a little bit compared to how much about one person is, but we are all connected. What one experiences, everyone experiences, just like how your finger experiences something and your whole body experiences it. Each individual human is a part of the collective, and especially the people of us who choose to be of the service to others, of the higher spiritual path, we really have to take it in our stride to be in the best vibrational state that we possibly can be in, because that indirectly affects everybody else and has a huge impact on how things can actually play out on this world. And it plays into how some people are here just to be like these vibe generators, to be holding a very high energy, high vibrational frequency, to then help the evolution of consciousness. And that is a very important part, I believe, in what we are facing right now. And I believe that kind of way of life will be more important the more further along this timeline we go, because the next 10 years, 10, 20 years are going to be very, very interesting. I'm quite excited to see how they're going to go. Nobody really knows. Everyone I speak to has ideas, but no one actually knows what's going to happen. And maybe there'll even be some wild card factors that we just can't see right now. I mean, can you imagine like another world-changing system like the internet comes along? Like, I don't know what that could be, but from what I was told, nobody saw the internet coming. So imagine if there was something on that level again that came and completely changed everything on the world. Hopefully for positive. I'm always rooting for we want some, the good guys, but you never know. There could be, but it could be like the internet, which is used for good and bad. Or there could be some crazy event that happens. Who knows? But I believe that holding your vibe is going to be essential for thriving in these coming times. Because even though if the world is going to get a bit more crazy, it's also, I believe, going to be easier. Well, or maybe easier is the right word, but it'll be more possible to live a very interesting, exciting, and amazing life where you tune into these higher waves of energy that are going to be affecting the world, affecting humanity, and who knows where that could lead. So that's just what's going on in my mind at the moment. I actually wrote an article about called "The World We Live In," which talks about all of this. If that's anything I just spoke about resonates with you, and it's interesting to see where the journey takes you. When you really start to dive into all of these subjects, the journey is almost endless, and especially for me now, which I spoke about before, is coming to having my own unique thoughts, having my own thoughts, thinking for myself, and not what other people have told me this reality works. And that's very interesting, because then you're totally up to your own devices on what you want to create for this world. And I'm also just starting to do a gratefulness experiment where I do at least 5 minutes of being grateful every day, usually more, aiming for 10, but at least 5. And yesterday maybe this is nearly the 10th day I've been doing it, and it gets me into this very nice frequency, this very nice vibe, and then I go from there. And I must have spent maybe nearly 2 hours yesterday just being grateful for things and thinking of all these different things I could be grateful for in different ways, and how just the very mechanisms in front of me, like my computer and the internet and electricity and all these things, how much mind power has gone into creating these, and the building that I'm in and the clothes and all of this human effort that's gone into making the very things around me. It's so awesome to tap into this gratefulness, because you begin to find so many more things to be grateful for. And I started like maybe a week ago, I just wrote down like very simple lines like, I am grateful for this, I am grateful for water, I am grateful for the chair I'm sitting on, I'm grateful for my computer. But now I I write a whole sentence about what I'm grateful for. Like, I am grateful for the people that took the time to figure out how to create like the technology that allows for a computer to manifest. So it's sort of changed a little bit, and maybe by the end of it I'll be writing entire paragraphs. Who knows? I'll do it for another 20 more days, and we'll see how reality changes before. Because I've done some experiments with reality creation and had some very interesting results. So I'll see where this one takes me. So far it's been very interesting, and we'll continue to do it. And maybe at the end I'll write an article or do another video. So yeah, that's just a bit of a recap of where I am at the moment. I just sometimes the format for these videos, I just start talking about things and see where my mind takes me. Sometimes it can be very interesting, but I kind of like doing it this way because it keeps the content fresh and gives me an avenue to describe what's going on in my mind, and then hopefully other people can resonate with that, and maybe it triggers something in their mind, so then they can do their own thinking, and it can have a positive effect on their world. That's why I do these videos. It's good fun, and maybe it helps people at the same time. So that's all a win-win. Yeah, I think that'll do for this video. I've got some more ideas coming up for some new content as well. So yeah, stay tuned, guys, and enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.